email that Leo presented because I can't explain this as well as Leo wrote it, and I suck at writing. So that's what we're going to do. That meeting you were supposed to have with someone, they forgot and didn't show up. Your kids can't find their shoes. What do these things have in common? They happen to those of us who are neurodivergent on a regular basis. How do you handle it? Even when we have the best of intentions, it's really easy to get more and more annoyed with ourselves and those around us. Let's talk about what happens when we allow neurodivergent traits to affect us in negative ways, both within ourselves and throughout our relationship with those around us. I could not present anything as well to start this than Leo wrote in that email. So we're going to go around the group, but I'm going to tell you for the first time, I'm going to start this because this can get very sensitive and very delicate. And it's not meant to be like, what are you frustrated in someone else that is in this meeting for? This is a generalization, okay? This is not, we are not going to attack. We are not going to do any of those things. My thing is, what I get the most frustrated with in myself is I can't stop interrupting people. And it plays through so much in my everyday life because in my mind, I'm thinking, I'm right. Listen to me. Listen to me. Do not listen. I will cut you off because I'm right. But I'm not a lot of the times. And that gets so overbearing because when I see someone else interrupt someone else, I get so agitated by that. I'm like, why won't they just let this person speak? But then I do the same fucking thing. I mean, does that make sense? Like, can y'all understand? So that to me is the biggest thing, is the interruptions. I desperately hate in myself that I know that if I want to say something, I'm going to say it that might interrupt somebody else. And then looking at other people talk and then seeing someone interrupt someone else, I get mad at that person for interrupting. This is what is so hypocritical to the outside world about this. And so that is what I struggle with, is the interruption quality. I also get frustrated with myself. I get frustrated with myself with a lot of things. But it's not being the best at what I'm doing that day. If I'm not the best, then I'm the fucking worst. And then I see somebody else not being their best, and I say, why the fuck can't they just be their best? That's a neurotypical perspective of, of what people do. And so I get mad at myself for that. I also get mad at myself for the fact that, like, you know I'm one of the most loving people in the world, but I show it horribly sometimes. And then I get frustrated that other people don't have the same love I do for other people. And that sucks because, like, I want them to have the same love I do, but maybe their type of showing love is different than mine. I never take the time to realize that. All I say is, like, you should be as loving as I am. Fuck you, whatever. And that is so hard to grasp for me. So for me, it's the interruptions. It is watching people not love each other in my mind when maybe they really do. It's just they have a different way of showing it. But difference to me is unheard of. Just like neurotypicals. Difference to them is unheard of. To me, when I see a way someone could love someone else, I'm like, you're not doing enough. That's exactly the same thing that we get told. You're not doing enough. So I'm really having to struggle with that right now. That is my struggle with the recognizing traits. And, the whole losing your keys thing. Leo, you said it great. Your kids can't find their shoes. Well, I can't find my shoes. But if my wife can't find her shoes and I need to be somewhere, I'm like, why can't you fucking find your shoes? Is it not important to you that we get here at a certain time? Like, that's so fucking bad. That's so hypocritical on my part. But I think the difference to me is that that's the way that we can't help but think, whereas neurotypicals can separate those things. We can't separate I can't find my shoes and I'm going to blame you for it. The neurotypical can. they can separate that I can't find my shoes, but it's not your fault. And it's okay. For us, it's much more difficult to accept that unless we're surrounded by other people like us. So I'm struggling with a lot of this. Does that make any sense to anyone?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
yes.
Excellent. So I'm going to call on Leo first. What?
Right. Excellent. Yeah. So I think you really hit the nail on the head with like you're not doing enough, right? This is something that I think, especially, you hear all sorts of things going up. You're not living up to your potential. And so there's this constant refrain of like, it's never enough. It's like, I'm not doing enough. The people around me aren't doing enough. Nobody's ever doing enough, because it's something that we've heard over and over again. And, so one of the ways that really ends up manifesting for me is, especially if I'm having a day where like I'm struggling to kind of get anything like actually accomplished. And it's like I'll feel like I'm finally starting to get on the right track, and then someone will interrupt me with something, and like that can trigger just an absolute explosion. I'm like, why the fuck would you interrupt me? Like, I'm finally starting to do this because I'm so mad at myself, like, for not having, been able to like get on track, that like I'm finally able to get on track, and then something takes me off, and that's incredibly frustrating. Yeah, the kids like constantly losing things, and then it's like, again, I think it comes back to this idea of like, oh, I have to like line everything up very specifically in times, or I'm not going to be anywhere, because otherwise it'll be time to leave. And then I'm like, oh, actually I have these like 5 things I need to do before I leave the house in two minutes, right? And then it's like, oh wait, actually I should have left already. And so, I've tried to instill like the kids with kind of different ways of thinking, and they're just not, it doesn't appeal to them at all. Like, and I know this because a lot of times it doesn't really appeal to me at all either. And so it's this like, it's the whole idea that like everyone has all these ideas, like, oh well, why don't you just do this, right? Like this one simple trick, and except that it's never that simple. It's always one of those things you have to experiment to find what works for at least now, right? And so trying to figure out how to balance that out, but instead of the just like, oh, just do this thing, like that doesn't work. Like, I could keep yelling it at you, but it's not going to actually change anything, and it's just going to piss both of us off, because one of us will start yelling, and then the kids start yelling back, and like it just creates this whole really negative atmosphere. And so I think that's really what I struggle with, in terms of kind of just this constant need to go and like push harder and feel like it's never enough. And then you kind of couple that with like having big ideas of like what's possible, and you feel like you're not actually moving toward that at all, because you're like, I just see what this could be, but it's not there now. And that's a fucking tragedy. Like, why are things not different now? Like, I see the answer. Why is it not different?
No idea what that feels like, by the way, as I interrupt you.
Right. Yeah. No, I got you.
Nail on the head. Yes.
Yeah. And yeah, just trying to, balance everything. And, nothing is ever actually in balance. Trying to get better at that, but it's definitely a struggle.
Yeah, 100%. Thank you, Leo. That's perfect, actually. Blushing. Let's go with you next on this topic.
Oh, I've worked on this for a good while.
I know.
I don't get as annoyed anymore, but there's specifically one thing that is frustration for me still. And I'll speak on what frustrates me about my things first. But it is the same in a couple of other people or a few other people around me. And it is hyperfocus. Sometimes it's good for me to be able to hyperfocus on something. But I've led up onto that with really struggling to get started, thought through the whole process. And when I get that momentum to get started, and I get started, I get into my zone, and then something happens. The phone rings, or somebody interrupts me, even though it's maybe for something important. It is so frustrating because that hyperfocus is broken and I can't get it back that day, and maybe not for several days for that specific task I need to do. And I can't really get much useful other than that done either, because I'm just really jarred. I've learned to get to a point where I can like go and do the routine stuff, like the cooking I need to do. It's at least small parts of it. But oh my gosh, it's so frustrating. It's great when hyperfocus is helping me, but it's not great when I get it gets disrupted by something or someone.
Yeah.
And then when I see other people, because well, I've got multiple other neurodivergent people around me, without naming anyone or specifying, they also hyperfocus, every single one of them. And then I need to give a really important message. And I've had to train myself by now to wait and think about, do I need to say it now? Or can I give them like an hour or maybe even an hour and a half and then go, what are they doing now? What is it likely they're doing? Are they hyper-focusing for sure now or no? And I've learned the patterns of the people. So I've gotten there, but oh my gosh, the frustration of they hyper-focus just as much as I do. It helps me that I recognize that part, that I know the feeling of being interrupted and not getting back in the flow. But the frustration of then going to, like, I don't get anything done until I've given that important message. You know? So
100%.
I'm stuck too. That's frustrating. Not because of them, but because of the hyper-focusing. And I know I should not and cannot right now interrupt you.
Yeah, 100%. That's the way. This is the struggle. This is the struggle. But I promise you, by the end of this discussion between us, we're going to figure this out. Okay. I do have a plan for this. It might flop, but it won't. So I think we're going to be okay. Blushing. Anything else on that?
Yeah.
Let's go.
When us ADHDers and other neurodivergents, we speak directly. We say what we're thinking, not being unkind or anything, but we're direct. And I grew up with people like that too, even though many of them are actually neurotypicals. That's my culture around me. So I have double of that. And then I say something, it's not untrue or unkind, it is direct. And people, especially some people who are used to people wrapping everything in cotton and being like walking around it instead of saying things properly, they get offended. And I'm frustrated at that. But then I have to think, was I being too like rash and impulsive and animated, in lack of a better word? Or was it they're not used to this and they're also very, very sensitive in the other direction and we don't know? And that's my frustration. I can't really know that. And that's not like me being neurodivergent and them being neurotypical. It is just basically you can't read people's minds. But the sometimes being too direct, that's my frustration in myself. But I've also had that happen with other neurodivergent people towards me. But thankfully, because I'm the same way, I can stop and go, did you really mean it this way? Because that's how I heard it. instead of being very upset, right? But not all people can do that, and I've had years to work on that part, on communication part. So,
But you chose to work on it.
yeah,
That's
I've studied communication, darn it.
that's it. But that's a good thing. You chose to work on it.
Yep.
And for the record,
Still frustrating.
I don't think you're too direct blushing at all. So just
Sometimes I am. Not with this gang, though.
exactly. Let's go with Mechi. What do we got? I know you got
so much.
I know.
Oh my god.
And we are gonna keep this to an hour. But you say whatever the hell you want.
Okay.
We'll go over.
Well, yesterday, I am proud of myself because yesterday, after trying to do this for so long, I actually started journaling. That's one thing. But no, I had a huge epiphany yesterday because I was like, yeah, I have to journal every single day. And that's one of the things that I hate about my ADHD brain is that all or nothing mentality. Like, I'm going to start the diet on Monday. And if I fuck it up, then I'm going to start again on next Monday. And so I am constantly about to start a diet. So that's one thing. But no, I mean, I found out that the best way for me, at least, to journal is whenever I encounter something that makes me angry or I get salty about it, or, you know, I just don't like it or makes me feel sad, I'm just going to write it down anywhere I can, like my phone, for example. And I'm just going to write like a stream of consciousness all about it. And then maybe I'll get around it later. But yesterday, I'm going to say something, and hopefully I don't sound like a jerk, because I actually am a little bit of a jerk. But so I had a friend of mine
You're fine.
who
You're fine.
messaged me. Okay, good.
Yeah.
So a friend of mine, when my dad died, most of my friends didn't show up. And there was one of these friends who is supposed to be my best friend, who didn't show up, didn't even send me a message. She took like 3 days just to say sorry. And then she messaged me yesterday saying she was feeling sad because her grandma died. And I was like, are you fucking me? Are you fucking up with me? It's like, your grandma, you're like 31 years old. And like, that's not losing someone. Like, I lost my dad like 10 years ago. So, and I was like, okay, wait, why am I feeling salty about this? There's a lot to unpack here. So I started writing down because like it felt so ugly on my end to feel like that towards her because she's my friend, right? But I knew that there was something there to analyze. And I got this huge epiphany that for me is like, I get salty every time that, and I'm gonna actually read aloud what I wrote down to see if I make sense of this. So every time that I see someone that doesn't work hard enough to get something, or their lives are easy, at least for me, like losing your grandma when you're 30 instead of losing your dad when you're 20, let's say, or I don't know, being born in a first world country, or being born with money, or having parents who gave you a good citizenship. Is like, you know, mind you, I've been like 8 years just trying to find the papers just to, you know, start the Italian citizenship. Or people who marry into money, or women who get things from their partners, so things like that. And I'm like, why am I salty about this? Why do I fucking care? Because in the end, I don't care about what other people do. So why is that? And then I'm like, oh yeah, I know why. I've been undiagnosed my entire life with ADHD. So my entire life, everything that for other people is fairly easy, like getting started on a project or studying or graduating or anything, it's so much easier for them. And all I had to do is just take one fucking pill. And I didn't know that I had that. Like, but seriously, I didn't know that it was so easy. I remember the first time I was 30 years old that I took one med, and all of a sudden, I don't know if you've ever seen this video, but there's a viral TikTok on videos, everyone going blah, 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 like a lot of voices, and then all of a sudden they just listen to one voice. That is exactly how I felt. And I'm so angry. It took me 30 years just because I'm a woman. We're underdiagnosed. I live in a third world country where nobody knows anything about this. I've been to so many doctors. I even thought I was stupid. I even went to a clinic to see if I had any learning disabilities. And I'm like angry at it. And of course, I'm going to feel salty about people having it easier than me. But it's not because I'm a bad person. I thought inherently I was a bad person. No, it's underdiagnosed ADHD, dealing my entire life with, you're not good enough, you're not working hard enough. Fuck no, you don't even know what I'm doing. I work really hard. So that's my epiphany that I had actually yesterday. So I don't know if hopefully it helps anyone out there feeling like they're a bad person or something. Guys, if you think that because other people have it easier than you, first of all, we don't know what they're going through. Second of all, maybe your ADHD is the reason and you're not actually a bad person. You're just dealing with this.
Okay, again, Betchy, with the unbelievable speech that makes you want to run through a brick wall again. You do this every time. I love it. You actually made me feel better right then from what you said, is because I was born in a first world country with both parents that really cared and all that kind of stuff. It makes me feel not as alone, because I was just as fucking mad as you about not being able to recognize why I can't fucking do something I want to do. I'm just as angry. It's not the location. The anger is the same. And that's so thank you. That really changes the whole trajectory of the rest of the episode. So thank you, Betchy. I appreciate that very much.
There's a lot more to uncover there, but yeah, that was like the main one that I wanted to bring out.
Awesome. I love that. Terry, what do we got on this one?
All right, we're gonna start with some funny shit.
Awesome. Yes. God. Yes. Thank you.
So, something that annoys me about neurodivergent tendencies and behaviors in myself and others, like getting sidetracked, like you were saying, like, why can't, like, we have to go somewhere. Like, thought we were leaving in 5 minutes. Why on earth would you turn on a new show or something? Like, we're leaving in 5 minutes. What are you gonna watch from that? Like, why would you start vacuuming right now? But I literally decide to, like, I'm gonna wash the dishes that I told myself for 4 hours last night I need to do when I have to be out the door 5 minutes ago. Like, I do it too. And I don't know why. And they don't know why. And you don't know why. So, like, help. Let me get one more funny one in before I make it not funny. The kind of similar to interrupting, but it's not just the interrupting of the person talking. It is, you hear, and like, I know I do this and I've witnessed others do it. You hear the first couple words of what somebody is saying, and then and it's not even a matter of assuming and like, like that. It's a matter of like a connection was made in your brain, and then you want to start going, and they're like, no, that's actually not the point I was going to make. You didn't let me finish my sentence. Like, yes, it's the interrupting, but it's like our brain making a connection. Like, that was the interruption to the flow of the conversation. Oh, I really want to go out for dinner. Why don't we go? And I'll be like, oh, I was thinking the same thing. Let's go get tacos. And it's like, I was gonna say pizza, but I thought you wanted tacos. I never said I wanted tacos. No, but didn't you? I'm pretty sure you said you wanted tacos. No, you said you wanted tacos. No, I literally just thought Lobao said he wanted tacos. Like, I could hear your voice saying I want tacos. No, I fucking want pizza. And you didn't even let me say I want pizza. Like, I know we all do that.
Yeah.
And it is the awareness part of it, like being aware of it. And you're like, but the bitch about awareness is that it is after the fact. Always.
That's so
Always.
so true.
Uh,
So true.
quickly I'll go into like a more, not as much behavioral, but I guess like mindset, like personal, like that. Some of the things that really annoy me about my neurodivergent self, which are actually some amazing things about me and like strengths. Like I cannot fucking stand how much I care. I, I fucking hate it. I want to stop. I want to be careless. I don't want to care about every single person's every single feeling. And like I hate the fucking empathy. I hate having empathy. I really do. It is destructive to me. But I also know it is helpful to people around me. Maybe. I don't know. I'm just trying to make myself feel good. But like, oh, this heart, man.
Sometimes it's too big. Like that is
And then expecting your heart from other people.
right. Oh God,
Yep.
don't even
Only
get
do.
me. Oh, sorry, not interrupting, but don't get me started on that one. That one is, yeah, got it. I'm sorry, Jenny.
That's-
Go ahead.
And I'm really sorry. I don't remember which one of you said this. Leo, maybe it was you, about like wanting to get to the end goal and like, so obviously impatience, yes, that is something that annoys me about myself. It annoys me about other people. But it's like I feel like a lot of us, not all of us, but I feel like a lot of us have that big vision and that like total picture kind of way of seeing and thinking and whatnot. Maybe a little less with the details and the plans and the steps and stuff. And that annoys me because I always want to jump to the last chapter, or like I get really mad and impatient and frustrated and sad when I'm like, okay, so clearly there are a lot more than 10 chapters in this book, but can you at least tell me how many chapters? Can I at least know how many chapters until I get to that chapter? And no, you don't get that. Like that whole like, but I could see like the dream and the vision and the goal. And I will be very, very, very not just impatient, but bitter, uh, childish. Like
Yeah, and
I don't want to, but like I'm like and I believe this wholeheartedly. I don't give a fuck. I am not waiting to be old as hell when I only have however long to live left, when I only have so much energy and so much this and that and whatever, after going through years of whatever, pain, stagnancy, blah, blah, blah. And this is in all realms of life. So like, oh, get the great thing. Oh, wait, so I could have it for 4 fucking years? That shit doesn't matter to me. I'm sorry. Not really at all sorry.
don't be. That's the same concept as like I used to take my paycheck and stay in a 5-star hotel for like 2 nights, and it was all blown to shit. So I was poor for 2 weeks, but for those 2 nights, I lived on top of the world. And then all of a sudden, it was like, "Why don't you save your money?" I'm like, "Why? Why would I save my money?" Well, so that when you're 70, you could stay in a 5-star resort, whatever. I'm like, okay, I just did that at a young age, but that's a problem sometimes. Like, because then you don't have that income that you just take it, you spend it, and
Right.
and that's impulsive as shit. And while it's a huge strength to live life to the fullest, it's also a detriment.
Because it's like that whole
yeah.
like we understand like life is so short,
Absolutely.
life is so short, life is so short. But then any inconvenience or season that is not pure happiness, life is so long, life is so long, life is so long.
100%.
That's all I got. So I was just trying to be real annoying to everyone tonight.
Actually,
Love
no, we love you too, Terry. Kirk, what do we have to say in this dissertation that you will be presenting to us?
I probably could write a dissertation on this.
I know.
It's really interesting hearing everyone talk about how we all sort of have to deal with time blindness. You know, we hold ourselves accountable to high standards, and we want to change the whole world and change our whole lives every single week in a week. And if we don't do it in a week, suddenly we're so down on ourselves. It's like we have these extremely creative minds that go 10,000 miles an hour. So we see all the possibilities. We see what we can do, what we want to do, who we can help, how we can help them, what it would look like in 10 years, 20 years, 40 years. Sometimes there's a tiny, tiny step between here and there. That's paperwork, that's research, that's a conversation, that's a phone call that is agonizing for our brains. Like it's almost unfair. When we watch someone else can do that thing for a job, you know, like just do this mundane task over and over and over again. And if I could do that mundane task just a couple times, I swear I could change the whole world. That sort of like up, down, up, down, up, down mindset is maddening. It makes you feel crazy. Because the other thing too is sometimes those mundane tasks don't get us that baseline level of dopamine that we want. That little tiny thing that we need to keep from being all over the place isn't there in the most important task to us. It can be so important, but it is so boring and so bland for our brain. Even if it's important, even if we understand the value, even if we want to do it. Sometimes I have trouble pursuing things that are valuable and meaningful and these huge opportunities because there's no dopamine. And that is wild because other people don't get it either. Like, why? If you could change your whole life by doing this one interview, filling out this one piece of paper, applying to this one job, reaching out to that one person, why wouldn't you? I mean, I want to. I want to really bad. I think about it every day. I think about it all the time. I wake up thinking about it. I dream about it before I go to sleep. I dream about it while I'm asleep. I think about starting it while I'm at work. When I come home, there's all these big, wonderful, compelling, interesting ideas, compassionate ideas, kind ideas. I think that's the thing that plagues me every day. And it's every day. I think about that every day. Oh, I could have done this. I could do this. I could be more efficient. I could be smarter. I could work harder. I could work harder. I could work harder. I could work harder.
Yeah,
yeah. This sounds familiar, doesn't it?
Till it depletes you to the point where you can't even breathe.
Yeah. And so I think there's a lot of little things that we do that are really annoying. My boss Lobau interrupts me like 42 times an hour. I can't, like, he will bury me under words. He has, I mean, I'll come in, I'll be like, hey, by the way, gone. Nope, no, he's on his own tangent. I got in high. That's all I'm gonna get in for the next hour. And it's just an avalanche of every sentence his brain can possibly conceive of. And he has ADHD too. And like, I know what's happening. He knows what's happening. He's not stopping.
Right.
So sometimes you see similar traits that we have in ourselves in someone else. But let's say he's worse at that one. And I'm like, I'm going to stab you if you don't stop. As much as you love that person, as much as you care about the person, as much as you understand what's happening in their brains, because they're like, yeah, me too, but shut up.
Right.
It's like you suddenly don't have compassion on someone else who's experiencing the same thing as you.
It's like, we love you, but we'll still kill your ass. Like, like, I mean,
Yeah,
that's, yeah, wow,
yeah.
that's
And
deep, actually.
I'm sure they
Like
think the
that.
same things about us sometimes too. Like,
Yeah.
dude, fill out this one thing. This one thing. It takes 5 minutes. And you had 17 hours to do it. 17 work hours. Not like you went home and slept and we counted those 8 hours. No, you were at work doing nothing else for 17 hours this week. Why didn't you fill out that paper that took 5 minutes? You know,
Right, but to them, sorry, I'm not interrupting. I'm trying so hard, but if I don't say it, it's this is what I hate about myself. Is this right here? But that paper they wanted you to fill out was important to them. So
Yeah.
now all of a sudden that's their thing of like, this paper is the most important thing in the world to me. So now I'm pushing it every 5 seconds. But if
Yeah.
it's not important to the other person, we don't understand why it isn't.
And it is still so hard to even now when I feel like, okay, cool, I understand my ADHD better than I ever have. I understand how I interact with other people better than I ever have. I understand my styles of communication, what's important to me, what isn't, why, blah, 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 blah. It is still really hard to be kind enough to myself, to give myself space, to give myself time. Like Terry, you were talking about that, like, oh, I don't want to, be old tomorrow, suddenly wake up and I'm old and I haven't done all the things. But we have a lot more time than we think, because a lot of times we'll put this big pile, we'll write all of our plans in a book and we'll put them on a pedestal and then we'll stare at them and then we'll dust them off and then because we want to try to accomplish every single one of them in one day. And like, we understand how valuable time is, and we understand how important those things are, those monuments are, those accomplishments are, those people are. But sometimes I think we forget to be kind enough to give ourselves time and space and forgive ourselves when we mess up and we misstep. I think that's where the difficulty lives. At least for me, and I'm sure it does for some other people. Like we are allowed to be kind to ourselves, and we have more time than we think we do. It's going to take years to get where we want to be, no matter who we are, because we have those big ideas, because we have our big hearts, and because we have, kind dreams and grandiose dreams. And like, it's going to take some time to get there.
Double-edged sword, as always. It's always,
Mhm.
yeah, mic drop, Paul Kirk. I love it. Does anyone else have anything else to say before I flip this entire fucking thing and do something I've never done before, which is a huge risk? Hashtag ADHD.
I'm ready for it. I'm
Hello.
ready for your
Yeah, we need that.
All
I do
right.
have a few things. I'm gonna
Okay.
be super quick. As I
Yeah.
was listening to you guys, like it just hit my brain, like the novelty seeking dopamine deprived brains that we have. At least in my case, I hate the fact that when something loses novelty, it makes you go numb, and it can maybe even derail you towards depression. Because hey, guess what? Not every day you can jump off a plane or travel somewhere else or do something fantastic. And that's one thing that I hate about ADHD, that it can derail you towards depression or feeling numb when you cannot do something that is super novel and new and interesting. And another thing, and it is such a pity that Dorsey's not here to address it, because I was thinking the other day how hard it is to live your entire life not knowing you have ADHD, but think about how hard it is also the generational trauma. And I want to ask Blushing, because she might know about that. So the other day I was thinking, I mean, I'm sure, because ADHD is a genetic disease, or well, not a disease, but it is genetic. And it's crazy. Exactly. So imagine having a father or a mother. In my case, I'm sure it's my mom, undiagnosed, living her entire life with ADHD without knowing that she has it, and then passing down all of that trauma onto me, even though, that's something that I think needs to be addressed, because it's hard. And I see that, like in her, every time that I see something I don't like about her, it is exhausting because everything I hate about her, it's the same thing I hate about myself too. And I strive not to become her by actively avoiding that. But between that and masking, it is so exhausting to have ADHD.
Mm.
It is so exhausting.
Yeah, yes, it is.
Yeah. All you say rings true.
100%. I love it.
That reminded me of one other thing too, like what you were saying at the beginning. Like we always want to be doing something crazy, jumping out of a plane.
Yes.
Sometimes I try to explain that to other people, like what my brain wants to do. And I'm like, they're like, what do you want to do? And I'm like, I kind of want to be like on a roller coaster with a metal band behind me while I'm fighting the person in the seat next to me. Like
That
that's kind
sounds
of
like
the
amazing.
goal I need right now. But
Right.
if I can't get that, a nap. I either want to like be on a rocket ship
100%.
going to Mars,
Nailed
4
it.
million miles an hour
Oh my
while
God.
learning to sword fight at the same time, or everyone go away so I can hyper focus on this Rubik's Cube. Like there's no in between. There's
Why-
zero in between.
Why do you
That's
think
the all or
chaos or
nothing mentality
nothing?
we have. I
What-
hate it.
why do you think I love it actually? Because why do you think I cannot stand the like I post this on Patreon. It's got no 300 music in the background. It's got no inspirational words. It's got no because that stimulates the shit out of me to like go through this episode over and over again, trying to pinpoint a point that someone makes that is so like spike the ball. So, that is stimulation for me.
Yeah.
But the problem is that most people just want to hear people talk. They don't want to hear all that other shit. But for me, it's so I created both. Scenarios. It's just taken me a lot longer work, and I've worked myself into the ground, trying to do it. So we will conclude this with not what you are most proud of, not are you still here, etc. But I am going to flip this. This is a huge risk, and y'all might hate me, like really hate me after this, but it's fine because I believe it to be the right thing to do. We're going to pair up. On my screen, I have Leo blushing, me, Kirk, Terry, Mechie. My question is for Leo, what do you love the most about blushing? And blushing, what do you love the most about Leo? We've done this before. You've sent these videos in. This shouldn't be hard.
Who do I
Right.
have?
You have Terry. Literally, that is how it is on the screen. So while we're talking all these negative things and how it's so hard, let's do a positive thing. I'm not telling you how great you are, except for Kirk, obviously, but you're going to tell each other on an episode what you think the best thing.
Let's do it.
Let's do
All
it.
right. I'll kick it off then, since I was the first one there.
Yeah.
So, blushing. Absolutely love the way that you take everybody into account. And so, in this kind of world we live in, it's very easy to not consider how the words that we've grown up with can actually affect different types of people. I know this is something that I have struggled with and tried to adjust. So you're always very careful about the language you use, and making sure that the things you say are not harmful to different groups of people. And I really admire that, and the fact that all you do for being a Twitch ambassador, and everything that you're overcoming is absolutely phenomenal, and you're still going out and making a positive impact on the world. And I just love to see it. It truly does energize me every time I see you doing that, because it's absolutely incredible. And I really appreciate you being part of this group.
Thank you.
Love
I
it.
have to say, I'm not a Twitch ambassador. I'm a mental health advocate.
That's the one. Sorry. Yeah.
That there is something called Twitch ambassador. I'm not one. But what do I
Well,
love
Twitch,
the most
maybe
about
she should be.
Leo? There are many things. And one of them is you're so sturdy, steady. You are also quite witty, but in your own way. And you care so much about people. And sometimes, just like myself, maybe too much. But then you've also learned to take care of yourself. And actually, that's something I'm also proud of you for, but I love that about you too.
That's awesome. We are going to go with Terry and Mechie next. Terry, what do you
This
love
is such
about
an aw moment. I have to say it. Sorry, I'm going like aw,
Yeah.
aw.
Well, we need some awe after that
I love
fucking
I love
bullshit
it.
earlier. Like, we need some
Yeah.
awes, okay?
Yeah.
Like,
I love it. Okay, Mechi, one thing that I love about you, you are just so honest and unafraid to say whatever it is, whether it be, to talk about openly, publicly, the bullshit of, you know, like you were just saying before, how women were typically not diagnosed or not studied or anything for ADHD, which has caused, the late diagnoses. Um, and you're ready to speak up about anything like that, whether it affects you or affects somebody else that you've witnessed. And even I've watched you communicate, and even if there are things that you feel strongly about that you didn't have all the information, and then somebody says, well, if you look at it this way, or like, oh, well, they did that because of this. I watch like the the light bulb come on, and you start to see in that other perspective. And you could be so fiery, and you believe this and you believe that, but in the same token you are equally able to take in new information and say, oh, okay, well, yeah, I understand. Yeah, that makes sense. I didn't think of it that way. So I just love your just honest communication, not just with other people, but I think with yourself. And I think that's beautiful.
Oh, thank you. Well, actually, that's I was thinking about that too when you were talking that there is something similar to you too, because you are also from in a group, you're also someone who has like, I don't know how to explain it, but it's like you have two very different ways of seeing the world, but at the same time, you always find the way to go to the positive. I've seen you, I'm not gonna say at your worst because I haven't been there at that time, but I've seen you go through shit. I've seen you feeling sad here, but I also see how in the end you try to bring out the positive side, how you are so friendly with everyone, how you see the good in people, your empathy, how you care about other people. I've reached out to you when I was sad, and you openly listened to me and said me, oh my God, don't cry. But like, that is something that I really admire in you, that you're always willing to help. Very much like you're like Lobo's female version here, I guess. Like, you care about everyone and you want to be there for everyone, no matter who that person is. And something else that I want to like really emphasize about you that I love is your resilience. I truly admire, sorry guys, but I have to say it, I truly admire a woman who's fucking strong. And Terry, you're a fucking strong woman. And I even dare to say you are one of the strongest women that I know. So that's one thing. And that, of course, is because of your resiliency. So those are the things that I think I am most proud of you. And I do consider you a friend. So yeah, I don't consider many people my friends. So that's a good thing to say.
Thank you. I consider you a friend as well, Mitch.
Oh,
I don't even know what.
right?
Thank you.
well, this is working out better than expected. It's not, I love it. I love it. So, Kirk, what I love about you is the fact that you've seen me at my darkest, my worst, my most awful points. Zoom calling you either sober or drunk, crying, as times that, and others you have done this with me as well. But Kirk knows sports. Kirk knows a way to phrase things to me that I really understand. and he can shift my mind from ultimate despair to ultimate euphoria in a split fucking second, because he is perceptive as shit. He might be the most perceptive person here. And I appreciate that more than anything, to know that I have a counterpart that is like, what did you think about this? Because I know what he is thinking about someone else, or how they acted, or how they behaved, is 99.9% right. And to know that I have someone like that in my life means a fuck ton to me. And because I felt alone in that, being able to like see, is this person doing this, whatnot, until I met you. Then it was, I've got a friend in this, like, that is willing to help me, but also thinking through the way that he's reading my brain as much as I'm reading his. And that I need that. Like, I need that, man. That's so, thank you so much for that.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Lowbow. It is not hard for anyone in this group. It would not be hard for anyone who has been on this podcast to thank you, because you brought us all here and we've been able to have these meaningful conversations. There is you have this stubbornness about you, that is so genuine, and even though you probably wouldn't admit this, it's pretty selfless.
Oh, I'll admit it's, yeah.
You would, I cannot imagine how many people you have worked with, whether it's part of this group or someone that you haven't even met that has ADHD, that you would fight a bear for, because that's what you care about, and you're not going to stop caring about it. You're not going to let anybody get in the way of it. And the world is better because you're here. And this group is better, and Twitter is better, which isn't that hard, but like, there are a lot of people that deserve to have you and deserve the spaces that you've created. So thank you. Thank you for creating all these spaces.
Yeah.
More than welcome. I like this conclusions. I like doing it this way. Let's do
Why
this.
were you worried
fucking
about
shit.
that?
Well, I was worried. Well, I didn't know really how to do it. He came up to me like 5 minutes beforehand, and I'm like, oh, fuck. I'm going to change the whole ending.
I have no idea how I'm going to get all these people to say nice things.
Thanks, everybody. Well, I was thinking after a bunch of negative, well, not negative, but just more addressing things. Thank you, Kirk, very much, by the way, for that. It's, I'm going to edit that out. Don't worry. But it is nice to like have someone else. Like, my whole promotion is like, care about the person, love the person with everything you have. But when it's not quite as intense and someone says something else about you that is a part of this group or that is a friend of yours, that matters. And so, like, all these characteristics that we get so frustrated with, they're also the same characteristics that bring us together. And I wouldn't trade that for anything, personally.
And I agree with everything everyone said about each other too. Like,
Yeah, like it's like my mother would say, the
Love
Southern
it.
Baptist, you need affirmation is what you need. So I'm sure she'll critique this.
Fun fact, I
Yeah.
do an affirmation for myself every day.
No shit.
No
like
matter if it's a few words, like, I am blushing crafter and I am really awesome, can be one of them. If I can't figure anything out specifically, I will tell myself that
yeah.
every day.
I love that. I love that. That's fantastic. Well, thank y'all very
You know,
much.
guys,
Go ahead.
wait.
Sorry, Mitch.
I need to say something. One of the things that I wrote down that I hate about having ADHD is that I feel like I don't fit anywhere. But I need to say this. I do feel like I fit in here. And probably that's because we all have ADHD. We all see the world through the same lenses, even though we still have our differences. And I want to thank Lobo because, like, seriously, I could say beautiful things about everyone here. And it is hard for me to say beautiful things about most people because I think most people are stupid. I'm gonna be honest and blunt, but I do feel like I fit in here, and I do fucking love what you did here, Loba. I struggled so much to find my thrive, like people call it, but I feel like I found it here. Yeah, it's on the internet. I don't know you guys personally. I do know that I will meet you because I'm planning to go to the fucking US. And of course, I'm gonna be, you can bet, blushing, that I'll be in Norway. But seriously, this is something that I love, how we connect through our differences, through our struggles, but we connect because of that.
Yeah, it's kind of the relationships that you build, as Leo would eloquently put it. It's about the relationships. And actually, this kind of started because I listened to a couple of podcasts that Leo has done recently, and every single person says the same shit that we are saying. Like, every person is like, well, I really liked computers until I met people. And, you know, truly. Like, I mean, that's, and then it was like, well,
it was great. So a little context there. So I interviewed
sorry, did I say that
a
wrong?
guy who was an entrepreneur, started off as like a software engineer, and then was like, yeah, I really like people, and like created this company and everything. But yeah, I was like, I totally get that. Like,
Yeah, it was fun to see y'all connect like on that. He was like, wait, so there's no algorithm, or there's no, like, it's just the person. I figured out I liked people a lot more than I liked machines, which I thought was fucking phenomenal. But anyways, love y'all very much. Good night.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Good night.
Bye.